Welcome back, my friends. I'm Uncle Glenn, and here we are Sunday morning. I want to show you what we did yesterday. We did the prep for that pastry dough. We made the filling, raspberry, almond, and then we made a crumb. But you didn't get to see the finished product. We just did the preparation for it right here on YouTube, but we finished it last night on TikTok with the family. Let me show you a little. I need a sip of coffee. All right? Here is the finished product. This is Uncle Glenn's raspberry almond pastry crumb that I have for Sunday morning. Look at this. Look at the filling on it. It is so delicious. I did have a piece already. I got to be fair. All right, but I'm going to have another one. And I had some dough left over. So, had some ripe bananas, right? I took the ripe bananas, added some chocolate chips, and we made a banana chocolate chip turnover pastry. I had them last night when it was warm, and oh my goodness gracious. Let me tell you, came out great. Who needs to go to the bakery? We do it right here, and anyone can do it. I am not a chef. I'm just Uncle Glenn, likes to cook, loves to eat, and loves to be with the family here. All right? There's 38,000 of us on TikTok. We're all moving over here, though. All right? So I wanted to show you that, and here's what I got planned. Today, I'm doing the prep for my marinara sauce. Marinara. All right? Whatever you want to say it. You want to call it sauce, you want to call it gravy, all the same to me. I like the way it tastes. I don't care what you call it. But see this apron? Ah, you like my apron? This apron, you know how old it is? This apron has got to be about 80 years old. All right? This was my Nonnie's apron. And my sister found it. Look at this. Made in Italy. I don't know, you probably can't see it upside down, but made in Italy. This was hers. So today, we're going to take the apron, I got it on, and I'm going to try to make a replica of Nonnie's marinara sauce. Now, I got to tweak it a little bit because I don't have all the same ingredients. You know, in the summertime, Uncle Glenn makes his sauce with the fresh tomatoes and the fresh basil from the garden and the fresh parsley from the garden. But what we're doing today, we got to cut some corners. All right? So we're going to do it. It's not going to take long. We'll probably have this whole sauce in a pot, ready to cook now for a few hours. And then later, I'm going to be on TikTok live at Uncle Glenn number 2, Eastern Standard Time, probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And we're going to take that marinara and we're going to make some dinner with it. Maybe eggplant parmesan, maybe some chicken parmesan. I don't know yet, but we're going to do something. All right, so let's get going here. Oh, coffee. I love my coffee. All right, I got my ingredients all ready to go. All right, let me show you what I got. All right, we're going to start with some onion. I just chopped up a nice Vidalia onion. I like to use a lot of onion. The reason is because this helps to sweeten your sauce. All right, so we're going to start with this, along with, here's Uncle Glenn's garlic oil. I make this at least once a week. At least. I go through a lot of garlic in this house. All right? And what I do is I get a pot, virgin olive oil, get it to a hot simmer. I drop in a pint of cleaned garlic whole, and I let it simmer until it gets a little bit of color. Once it gets the color, I take it off the heat. And I'm just going to show you how wonderful this is. You can take this garlic. All right, let me show you. I don't mind getting my fingers in my garlic. Look at that. Look at that. Now watch. Watch how tender it is. Look at that. It just takes the garlic and boop, right in. All right. So Uncle Glenn is in his house. All right. I use my hands. My hands, I wash them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times while I'm cooking. All right. And I'm going to wash them again right now. But this garlic, I'm going to use in the sauce. We're going to start with some garlic oil. We're going to start with our onion. and we're going to saute this up. Then we're going to add all of our spices. Now, as we go along here, I'm going to show you. Let's get over to the pot. Let's turn the heat on and let's get cooking. All right? So this is my pot, a little bigger than you probably would need. Hey, I'm just taking a second to wash my hands again. All right? Okay. So what we're doing, we're going to set this up. Let's get some oil in there. Now, mind you, I don't have exact measurements. So, but I know I like a lot of garlic oil. All right? We're going to add the cooked garlic after the onion is translucent and sauteed. So what I'm trying to do here first is I want to create a base. Now, this is not a meat sauce. This is just going to be a straight marinara. All right? So in this sauce here, it's only going to be the veggies, the onion. I have some the dried herbs that we're going to put in here. I use chicken base, all right, instead of salt. And we're going to use some garlic paste. Basil paste, because I don't have any fresh garlic. Basil. Hey, garlic, basil. Okay. All right. Let's just make sure this is all coated here. Nice. It is. Okay. And then we're going to drop this onion in there, and we're gonna let it. I got the heat on high right now. Once this gets the temperature, I'm going to lower this, and then I just want to get this nice and sauteed up. All right, you hear it? Sizzling? Nice, nice. Okay, so we're going to let this work. Now, what I do, if I was making a meat sauce, I would be doing that first. I would be braising all of the meat and getting it all browned up, get the sugars out of it. And then I would be building my flavor from the rendering of the meat, and I would use that pot to put these onions in that rendering from the meat. But I'm not doing a meat sauce today. So all I'm doing is I am taking this and I'm going to saute this up. All right? Once these are nice and soft, we're going to the next step. I am building my flavors, okay? I like to build flavors. I don't like, you could take everything and put it in the pot if you want. Onions, spices, tomatoes, whatever you're using, and throw it all in there at once. Is it going to cook? Yeah. Is it going to come out the same? No. When you build flavors, you build them slowly. You have more control over how it's going to taste. All right? So, I'll show you. All we're starting with is garlic oil in here. All right? And I have the onion. Not going to take long. I mean, I'll have this whole thing prepped up in probably 10 minutes. And then we're just going to put it on the side. We're going to let it simmer. And I'm going to use this sauce, some of it, in tonight's dinner that I'm going to be doing live on TikTok. Now, if you're new here, we got about 38,000 of us over there. And we're moving over here to YouTube. All right? So, if you want to take a seat at our table and you want to be part of this family, you got to subscribe. All right? We have a lot of fun, I got to tell you. We have a good time. Now, Uncle Glenn is not, I am not a chef. I'm not a chef. I'm just old, fat Italian guy, likes to cook, and I love to eat. And that's what we do together. All right? Come the summertime or the springtime, we're going to be transitioning back to farm to table to soul, where we go in the garden, we grow our veggies, our herbs, our tomatoes, our cucumbers, and then I harvest it and I come up to the kitchen and we cook with it. And then we sit down together with the family, sometimes friends, sometimes acquaintances. And what we do is we share a meal together. And it satisfies the body, but more importantly, it satisfies the soul. All right? So that's season 2 of Farm to Table to Soul. Let me tell you, you gotta subscribe here because we're gonna be coming here to do that. All right? So, all right, let's get back over here. All right, looking good, looking good. All right. So as this is sauteing up here, all right, I don't know if I'm using the right word, sauteing up or just cooking up or softening it up. I want to get the sugars out of here. All right, that's what I'm looking for. I want this to break down the sugar that's in my onion. Very simple, okay? Okay, let's begin to add our garlic. All right, there's our garlic oil. All right, I'll show you again how nice and soft this is. Look, look, look. See this? It's a whole clove of garlic. It maintains its shape, but watch. Look. Okay, this is going to disintegrate in here. All right, and I like to use a good amount of garlic. All right, I'm not afraid of this because this is deliciousness. All right, and that's how my Nani would do it. She would do it just like this. All right. All right, so that's still going here. All right, now I have dried spices. All right, it's just, listen, you get in the store, you go to the store, nothing special here. Italian blended spices. All right, what's in here? There's parsley, there's oregano, there's probably some rosemary in here, some basil. All right, and we're gonna take this, and I'm putting this right in to where the onion is. Why? Because I want to build this as my base of flavors. Okay, so I'm gonna put that right in. Now, how much is there? Probably about, I don't know, 2 or 3 tablespoons. Now, when you're making a sauce, very, very important, or gravy, or stew, whenever you're doing that, remember this. Always use dry herbs as opposed to fresh herbs. The fresh herbs are how you finish everything. When this sauce is done, before I serve it, I'm going to take some of my fresh parsley that I have, and I'm going to chop it up. If I have fresh basil, I'll chop that up, and then I put it at the end of the cook. But the dried spices are stronger. You want to have those in there. That's what's going to give you all of the full flavor of the spice. Dried spices, when you're cooking something for a long period of time, finish with fresh herbs, okay? All right. So, I don't have any fresh basil, but I'm going to take some of the tubed basil right here, okay? Right there. Throwing some of that right in to my sauce. Now, I've got our herbs in there. I have some fresh basil in here. This is getting nice and soft right here. I got the onion right here, all right? Now, don't mind me. I got this tripod. I move it around so you guys can see, all right, what I'm doing. I don't know what you call it, tripod. My English ain't the best, all right? But, all right, now I have white pepper. I use white pepper as opposed to black pepper. The reason I use white pepper, it dissolves better. The black pepper is going to maintain its, the black kernels on it. This is going to blend right in, okay? So we're building our base right now. We're building our base. So in here, onion, garlic oil, mixed Italian spices, basil, and some white pepper that I just put in. All right? Still cooking up. Now, I'm going to add to this, instead of salt, I am not using salt. All right? I use chicken base. I use chicken base in place of salt. This has full flavor. This gives it an extra level of flavor, and it's very, very strong, very, very salty. All right? So you don't want to use too much. I'm using about a tablespoon here, going right in. All right? And that's going to melt down, and that's going to flavor and salt that onion and all the spices that are in there. Now, this is how I do it. If you do it different, hey, we all do things differently. So this is how I do it. All right? So this is almost ready to go. Very, very quick. Okay? Once again, I'm dissolving that chicken base right in here. It's concentrating in here. All right? Now, I want to deglaze this. All right? How am I going to deglaze this? I'm going to use some wine. You want to use red wine, you can use red wine. All right? Today, I'm using white wine. White wine's fine. I'm just deglazing with it. Okay? All right, here we go. Some white wine going right in. Now that is going to bring all of those flavors together. And right now we're cooking out the alcohol. The alcohol that is the little bit of alcohol that's in there, that's gonna come right out. It's gonna cook right out. I can smell it. All right, I smell the alcohol coming out right now. It also takes all of any of the flavors that you might have left on the bottom of the pan. It just took them and put them all back in this base of flavor. All right, so what am I doing? I'm building flavors, building flavors. Now, what are we missing? What did we not put in? All right, we got that. I want to make sure that all of this, oh yeah. All right, now I have what's called the number 10 can of tomatoes, okay? This is probably equivalent to 3 or 4 cans that you're gonna get in the store. I use whole tomatoes, all right? Let me show you. I'm gonna put these in first, okay? The whole thing. I don't like to use, when I'm making my sauce, I don't like using crushed tomatoes. I don't like using tomato puree. I don't like using anything except whole tomato. Why? The reason is because I want to be sure that I'm getting tomato and not some filler like water, all right? I could add water on my own, all right? So to see this now, I want you to see what these whole tomatoes, how nice these are, all right? And again, I'm going to use my hand to show you. There's a nice whole tomato here. Now, I use a specific brand because I know year-round that this tomato is going to be very, very consistent, okay? So, let me just show you. See this? Look how nice. Look at that. It's all tomato right here. And I kind of like, when I put my tomatoes in here, I'm going to bring this to temperature, and I'm going to take a hand masher that you would use for potatoes and making mashed potatoes, and I'm going to crush these by hand. After I blend this all together, I'm going to crush it by hand, and we're going to let it cook. We're going to add some water, and we're going to let this cook for a few hours. All right, here it is. Here's my masher, and all I'm doing, now if you want to use one of those puree things, mixing thing you have on your hand, I don't know what they call it, but all right, I just do this way. Why do I do this? Because I like it this way. I like to have whole pieces of tomato in my sauce, regardless of whether it's a meat sauce or it's a marinara sauce or whatever. That's just what I like. So you do what you like. Now, if you like it really, really pureed, you get that little machine, you come in here and you puree it, all right? But I like it this way better. You know, I like to know that when I want to have pieces of tomato, cooked, sweet, with the onion, pieces of garlic. I like my sauce like that. All right, I'm putting it over pasta or something. There's nothing like biting into it, especially during the summer when you have your own fresh tomatoes that you just cooked. All right, now anybody can do this. This is not a chef thing. This is all about procedure. All right, so like I said, if you're one that makes your sauce, puts everything in a pot together, fine. You do it your way. All right, I have no problem with that. And I'll eat it no matter what. I'm sure it's going to be great. But I found that doing it in layers, no matter what I'm cooking, is always better. All right, this is about done. All right, this is done as far as me mashing it up. And now this is going to cook probably about 3-4 hours, just like this. The only thing I want to add to this, because I'm cooking it for such a long period of time, I got water, about half a can of water that I'm adding to this, because I'm going to cook this down for hours. And I'm going to cook this uncovered. Uncovered. Do not take your sauce and cover it. All right? You want it to break down. You want the liquid to come out and get more concentrated. I don't need to put tomato paste in here. All right? because I'm cooking it for such a long period of time. By the time this is ready, it's going to be probably about an inch lower than it is right now and a lot thicker. But I'm giving it the opportunity to have the water in here to evaporate while it's cooking. All right? I got one last thing I want to say to you, and we're letting this go. All right? All right. One quick tip. All right? Here's the tip. If you have your sauce and it's done, okay, and you find that when you taste it, it's bitter. Most people will say, if you ask them, well, what would you do to get rid of that bitterness? And they're going to say, well, I'll put a carrot in there. I'll add sugar. Okay? I'll add honey. There's a trick that I learned from my nonni and my dad. All right? You know what you put in there? If it's got that acidic taste, I'm going to show you right here. And I will taste it later. You take a half a teaspoon of baking soda. You put a little bit of baking soda in your sauce. You're going to watch. It's going to come. You're going to see a bunch of bubbles coming up. What that's doing is it's neutralizing the tomato seeds that are in there, the bitterness. So taste it before. Put a quarter or a half a teaspoon, depending on how much sauce you got in there, and just stir it. Let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes. All right? Then taste it. And you're going to say, you know what? Uncle Glenn was right. Uncle Glenn, it's so sweet. You don't have to put any sugar. You don't have to put anything in. Now, if you want to add sugar anyway, you do it. But I'm telling you, this works. All right? So I hope I see you on tonight's TikTok where we take the sauce finished and we make some dinner with it. All right? Uncle Glenn number 2. Anywhere you look for Uncle Glenn with 2 N's number 2. And make sure you subscribe if you like what you're seeing here. I'll talk to you again soon.